really want to be thinking about is how we engage children. How can we engage children outside of the classroom in STEM? Okay, that's quite a big question. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of thinking time. The ex-teachers coming in here. What I'd like is I'm going to pass the mic along. If you could just introduce who you are, because we're not sitting underneath you.
Yeah, I'm not Professor Paolo Taticchi. I'm Andy Brittain. I'm head of STEM at Lady Helena Hollis School. Proudly acquainted with the three there and with Willow. The question was how to sustain them in STEM outside the classroom. I think what we found at LEH is essentially it's to provide the opportunities as much as possible for them to drive themselves forward, to pull them out of the traditional school structure, to give them space, to give them time, to give them all to facilitate essentially. And we've also tried to break down the traditional year group, the batching mechanism by birth date, which really is, it's not a good system, and it inhibits rather than allowing them to develop and really giving them the opportunity to teach each other. So we have groups that are a mixture of students from year 12 down to year 7. 13s generally they're focusing on degrees. They're welcome to join. Occasionally we have 13s, but all together they're all training each other. And to have thirds work with logs, for example, or higher level maths that they've never accessed, to see what the girls do, to see what Willow's doing. Willow is mentoring 2 or 3 students who are further down the school who have contacted her, and building that network is how we can get them moving forward. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Alex, and I don't have an educational or a background in education. I have founded a climate tech startup around waste, but not as a scientist, although I did study sciences at school, Willow, biology, chemistry, maths, once upon a time. So I came into this journey around climate waste coming from the fashion industry, where I spent 15 years involved in all the terrible things that everybody's talked about and have tried to contribute now and trying to contribute to the other side. But I would highly recommend some of the journey I've gone through over the last couple of years in terms of sort of living and seeing some of the problems. So, for instance, a couple of things that I did personally, which I think are amazing and open to schools and children and educational facilities, are visiting waste management plants. So I know particularly Suez, I don't know about Virid or Biffa and all the rest of them, have amazing educational facilities, and there is nothing like seeing the sheer volumes of waste that is incinerated, the sheer volumes that go into recycling plants, what's happening to them, and you see the loads coming in every day. And I think there's some amazing connections that can be made out into industry, the industry who's having to deal with that, be it through the councils, local or county, but I know that there's places that offer that in London as well, so I would really and would happily connect anybody with those facilities I know about to really live and breathe the problem.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Paolo Taticchi. I'm a professor at the business school of UCL. I'm an engineer as education. I'm also governor in a primary school here in London, and I think this topic of engaging children in STEM education is of course of paramount importance. The way we try to do this at UCL, I guess, leverages the 3 strategies, and probably they are very close to kind of the suggestions that were made by my colleagues in the panel. I guess one is to try to inspire them. We basically try to show that, for example, the research we do, the labs that we have, they do make a real impact in society. For example, we have some really interesting activities today at UCL with a focus on climate science and climate change. We basically bring the kids to see these labs, and they basically can understand how certain activities are impacting negatively our society, and why it is important that we change the way we do certain things. So I think inspiration is one element. Second, I guess, it's explaining the interdisciplinary nature of STEM. Explaining that medicine is not just medicine, but to transform a medicine we need also business people. And if you want to basically to speak about sustainable fashion, you also need experts of materials. So we try basically to communicate and explain this nature of STEM. And something we are very proud of at UCL is that when you study at UCL, you can actually build a very interdisciplinary curriculum, because whatever you study, you can take electives from any school, which is really incredible. So at the business school, we teach about 2,000 students who are basically studying business, but we teach more than 3,000 who are studying different topics from business, and they come from all the faculties and all the departments of UCL. I guess the third element that we try to communicate is basically the possible careers that you can build with STEM education, because I guess that is also something very important to basically explain what could be next. And the reality is that the nature of jobs is kind of changing very fast. So I guess we are trying there not necessarily to explain what is the job market today, but what is going to be the job market tomorrow. And I guess an example that comes to mind is, for example, communication and engagement that we're doing today with a focus on artificial intelligence, where it's very hard to, I guess, explain how this will disrupt society and what type of job opportunities are going to be tomorrow out there related to artificial intelligence. So these are, I guess, the three strategies we try to leverage. So inspiration, basically explaining the career outcomes and explaining the interdisciplinary nature of things.
Hi, everybody. I'm very thankful to be here and for BIEA for hosting this. So I'm Laura Lewis. I am the Programme Director for a new scholarship which is funded by Larry Ellison. And we are looking for talented people around the world who want to use technology to solve some of humanity's most pressing problems. One of our areas is climate change. We also have health. We also have food security and government policy as well. So, in answer to actually answering the question, I think kind of what the other panelists have said is looking ahead, and sensing the direction of travel. So we've already said a few things in the talks today about multidisciplinary, transcending boundaries. Veronica said earlier, and I think this is the way of things. So actually, the way that our education works at the moment is quite convergent thinking. When we take an exam, there's a right answer. But actually, especially with the explosion of AI, we're going to be able to measure divergent thinking, where actually coming up with something very innovative gives you points. And so I think everything is sort of coming together and converging, even though I'm promoting diverging, in a way. And so I think we talked about labeling things like sustainable fashion being kind of unhelpful, because when you label it, you kind of put a boundary around it. And so I think, when you think about biology as it's taught at school, my background is biology, I did 3 of the same A-levels as well. When you say, I don't like biology, really what you're saying is I don't like how biology is taught at school, and what gets taught and how it's taught isn't interesting to me. But biology is such a vast subject, you're going to find something interesting. And so I think you're just looking ahead, the fact that I think some of our nice, neat boundaries that help us to educate lots of people in a certain way are coming down. Some of those walls are coming down. So yeah, looking ahead, and we have a new sort of explosion in technology with AI. That's going to change a lot. So kind of thinking ahead, looking ahead of the curve there. Okay.
I'm not sure about the time. Have I got time?
I find it very annoying.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I find it very annoying that I agree with everyone. I think, I mean, I didn't mean, it's not in a terribly annoying way, but the fact that you know, I often watch debates and think, well, it's the conflict that makes it more sort of the passion that draws you in. But actually, all of this is exactly right. I'm nodding away and thinking this, the divergent thinking. I mean, our systems in the schools are not designed to do that. And it's really frustrating, and pulling in people that do all sorts of different things is really the way we need to do it. And I don't know how we're going to achieve that overall, but it's, I mean, maybe your institution will find a way.
Well, hopefully tech will have something to do with it.
Well, yeah.
But I think, you know, lots of people are having to do this outside of school in their kitchens. But it's, yeah, I don't know what the answer is either, but I think it's the direction of travel. And I think that's where we're going to have some really interesting innovations. So when people make connections between things that are kind of taught in very different areas.
Do you think business is going to drive it?
I mean, business, of course, plays an important role. I guess something that was coming to mind when you were speaking is we probably need to completely rethink the way we assess students. Because I believe the traditional frameworks and methodologies, probably they don't function anymore for what we wanted to do here. Something that, you know, we are now piloting and experimenting a little bit at UCL is basically assessments, for example, that are co-designed with industry. So it's not anymore, when I teach, for example, a strategy model, it's not anymore just me setting an assessment for the students based on the theories I have introduced in the module, but it's actually working with real organizations to make sure that the skills that we're building and the knowledge that we're building is relevant and can be applied. So I think also that is something important, you know, to basically not only look at curricula, but the way we assess learning.
Mm-hmm. I would add just that whilst it might not be happening in schools at the moment, it appears to be starting to happen in universities. I've been on a startup program, greenhouse program, which is for climate tech startups, and I would say the most encouraging businesses and business ideas and clever ideas for the future around this have come out of the students who are a cross between actually Imperial and the Royal College of Art, doing design engineering courses, and what it's absolutely amazing to see people who've got those two skills, who've found a place, a home to be able to bring them together, what they're coming up with. It's so inspiring. So those are to the 20-year-olds.
I think that Imperial London College of Art work that I've seen in the past has blown me away, because I come from science. And, yeah, as I said to someone earlier, creativity. As soon as you insert somebody who can think slightly outside the box into that science, you get something completely new.
Yeah.
Completely new.
You need that combination of left and right brains, and
absolutely.
that's when the magic happens.
Schools respond so slowly, though. It's so frustrating. You've got the pressures from above. The response.
So I am still acutely aware of the time aspect. Sorry, BIEA, we renown ourselves for never ever running to time.
It's a badge of honour.
Doesn't matter how much I know. Anyway, so I've got, because I am aware of the time, I've got kind of one very small question with a very small answer. A lot of what we do, a lot of what the competition does is really concentrating on transferable skills. Inserting and hiding transferable skills in between all those things that we ask kids to do. So, in your opinion, this is a very short answer one, what do you think is the most important transferable skill a young person can learn?
I know exactly what I'm going to say. Let's be nice and short. Critical thinking
Yes.
and problem solving. That is absolutely the number one. And I don't know if we do. I don't think we do it enough. That's totally across the board if we teach that. Sure.
Not such a good answer because it's not a critical skill so much, but I would say passion. You have to find something you're passionate about to be able to deliver on it, and that will, then with those other transferable skills, unlock things.
I guess ethical decision making.
I would say curiosity, which can also look like not really taking what you've been told as rote as well. So yeah, finding out, being interested, finding out the answers yourself.
Right, moving on swiftly. Thank you very much to the panel.